Hi everyone. In the last class, we have seen the different types of retail trade. Okay, itinerant retailers and fixed shop retailers. So today we are going to see the difference between departmental stores and multiple stores. Okay, or multiple shops. So the first point is location. So departmental store is located at the central place where large number of customers can be attracted. Then the multiple stores are located at a number of places and for approaching a large number of customers. Okay, thus central location is not necessary for multiple shops. Now about range of products. Okay, departmental stores aim at satisfying all needs of customers under one roof. Okay, but multiple stores generally aim to satisfy the requirements of customers relating to a specific range of their products. Okay, next is services offered. The departmental stores lay great emphasis on providing maximum service to their customers. Okay, it includes alteration of garments, then restaurants, and so on. But multiple shops provide very limited service confined to guarantee and repairs if it is required. Okay, next about pricing. The multiple shops chains sell goods at fixed price and maintain uniform pricing policies for all shops. But the departmental stores do not have uniform pricing policy for all the departments and occasionally offer discounts on certain products. Okay. Next point is class of customers. The departmental stores cater to the needs of relatively high income group of customers, okay, who care more for the services provided rather than the price of product. But multiple shops care about different types of customers. Then it includes those belonging to lower income groups, those are interested in buying quality goods at reasonable prices. And next about credit facilities. Multiple shops are made strictly on cash basis. That means in multiple shops there is no credit facility. But departmental stores may provide credit facilities to some of their regular customers. And the last point about flexibility. The departmental store deals with a wide variety of products and they have certain flexibility, okay, in respect of the line of goods marketed. But in case of chain stores, the flexibility is very less. Why? Because it deals with limited line of products, so there is very less flexibility, or we can tell that it is rigid. Hope you understood the difference between departmental stores and multiple shops. Now we are going to see some more types of internal trade. One is mail order house. Okay, mail order houses are the retail outlets that sell their goods through mail. You will be knowing mail, right? Electronic mails. There are generally no direct personal contact between the buyers and the sellers in this type of trading. Not only electronic mails, okay. Okay, so for obtaining orders, potential customers are approached through advertisements in newspapers or magazines, then catalogs, samples, etc. And the price list will be sent to them by post. Okay, there can be different alternatives for receiving payments. So first method how they'll collect the payment is the customer may be asked to pay full payment in advance. Okay, this you will be familiar because most of us will be ordering goods through online, okay, through mobiles and all. So we will be knowing we before getting the goods we will be making the full payment. And the second method is the goods may be sent by value payable post, that is VPP, under this arrangement. Then the goods are sent through post and are delivered to the customers only on making full payment. Okay. And the third method is through bank. Okay. So the articles will be delivered to the customers to their bank. This arrangement, there is no risk of bad debts. Bad debts means there is no chance of not paying by the customers. So buyers only after he makes the full payment, he can collect the goods from the bank. Okay, hope you understood mail order houses. Now we are going to see the advantages of mail order houses. Limited capital requirement, then elimination of middlemen. Middlemen means agents. Then absence of bad debts, then wide reach, convenience, etc. Now about the limitations of mail order houses. One is lack of personal contact. Next one, high promotion cost. Then no after sales service, no credit facilities, then delayed delivery, possibility of abuse, and the last is high dependence on postal services. Okay, through post only they are sending their goods. Okay, so these are the things about mail order houses. Now we are going to see consumer cooperative societies. So consumer cooperative societies are organization. It is a store. It is organized. Sorry, it is owned by organization. Okay, managed, controlled by consumer themselves. I'll repeat. Consumer corporation cooperative societies are managed, owned, and controlled by the consumers itself. Okay. The objective of such stores is to be reduced the number of middlemen who increase the cost of production. So main aim is to reduce the middlemen or agents. Okay. Next, the cooperative stores are generally buying large quantity directly from manufacturers or wholesalers and sell to their customers at a reasonable price. Okay, so members will be getting these products at good quality products at a cheaper rate. Then, to start a consumer cooperative store, at least 10 people have to come together and form a voluntary association, and they have to get registered under the Cooperative Societies Act. Okay. Then we'll see the advantages of consumer cooperative societies: ease of formation, then limited liability because it is registered, then democratic management and lower prices, then cash sales, convenient location. And now about limitation: lack of initiative, then shortage of funds, lack of business training, etc. Okay, these about consumer cooperative society. It is a type of cooperative society. Next, about supermarkets, which we all are very familiar with. We all would have gone to supermarkets at least once, right? So now, supermarket is a large retailing business unit selling wide variety of consumer goods on the basis of a low price. Okay, mainly low price goods. Then wide variety in assortment. Then self service also there. Okay, goods traded are generally food products, then clothes, grocery, electronic appliances, household goods, medicines, etc. Supermarkets are generally situated at the main shopping centers. Goods are kept on racks with clearly labeled price with quality tags in such stores. The customers move into the store and pick the goods of their requirements, then bring them to the cash counter, make the payment, then take to the home. Okay, this is how the supermarkets are working. Then supermarkets are organized on departmental basis where customers can buy various types of goods under one roof. Now about the advantages. One roof, low cost, then central location, then wide selection, no bad debts because cash on delivery. Then means only cash payment is there, no credit facility. Next, benefits on being large scale. Okay, now about the limitations: no credit facility, no personal attention, then mishandling of goods. You will be knowing when we are going to the supermarkets, by mistake we will be touching here and there, something will fall down and all. Okay, this is what mishandling of goods. Then high overhead expenses, huge capital requirements. Okay, these are the disadvantages or limitations of supermarkets. Now about vending machines. So vending machines are the latest revolution in the marketing methods. You would have seen this vending machines in the railway station, main bus stops, etc., bus stations and all, or metro stations. Okay, where you will be inserting coin and you will be getting the products. Okay, coin operated vending machines are providing useful in selling several products such as hot beverages, then platform tickets, milk, soft drinks, chocolates, newspaper, etc. Okay, so vending machines can be useful for selling pre-packed brands of low priced products which have high turnover, that means high sales, and which are uniform in size. Okay, that means size should be almost similar. If different size of products are keeping in the vending machines, it will be very difficult to operate. Then the initial cost of installing a vending machine and the expenditure on regular maintenance is very high. Okay, and the customers, those who are buying the goods from vending through vending machines, do not have an opportunity to return whichever you don't want. Maybe you will be selecting something else and you are getting the different product, and if you are getting different product also, you are not able to return the products. That is one drawback of vending machines. Hope you understood these four types of retailers or retail shops. Okay, the next topic or the last topic in internal trade chapter is GST, which is very familiar and very popular topic nowadays. Okay, so what is GST? It is goods and service tax. I'll repeat, GST is goods and services tax. So it is the government of India following this credo of one nation, one tax. Okay, so wanting a unified market in order to ensure smooth flow of goods across the country, implemented the goods implemented. Okay, and this GST implemented on July 1st 2017. I'll repeat, it is on July 1st 2017. Now GST is a destination based single tax. Okay, important term, GST is destination based single tax on supply of goods and services from manufacturers to the consumers. Okay, it has replaced multiple direct taxes levied by the central government and state government. Now, what is GST? I mean, what is CGST, SGST, and IGST? So, CGST means Central Goods and Services Tax or Central GST. Then SGST is State GST. Okay. Then IGST is Integrated Goods and Services Tax or Integrated GST. So CGST is tax collection or this revenue for central government. Then SGST, it is for the revenue for the state government. And integrated goods and services tax, this tax is divided between central and state governments as per the rules specified by the government. Okay, and IGST is charged on transfer of goods and services from one state to another state. Okay, then import of goods and services also covered under IGST, and CGST and SGST is included when is involved when the goods are moved within a state. Okay, it is CGST and SGST is payable on all intra-state supply of goods and services, and IGST is payable on all interstate supply of goods and services. Hope you are clear with GST. Okay, so internal trade, the chapter is over. Here we discussed about the types, that what is trade, then two types of trade, internal and external, then types of internal trade, wholesale and retail trade, and different types of wholesale traders and retail traders, and the last we discussed about GST. Okay, thank you.